Hello and welcome back to the Dugout podcast. This is episode number 75. Three quarters of the way to the century. It doesn't quite feel like it. Just take it week by week. Merry Christmas to all and happy holidays. If you don't celebrate Christmas, obviously, hope you're enjoying the festive season. Hope you're enjoying time off school, work, whatever, doing stuff with the family. Hope you're enjoying yourselves, and we hope you're enjoying the football. Of course, I'm today joined by my co-host, as always, Ethan Barlow, to go over the weekend's action. Ethan, how you doing, mate? You starting to feel Christmassy?
Yeah, you said we're three quarters of the way there to the 100 mark. We're only three sleeps away from the big day. I'm getting excited for Santa coming. But yeah, the football, obviously, no more Scottish games until after Christmas. But I think we've got a really entertaining finish. Certainly the last few game weeks of Premiership action anyway. How's yourself, Alex?
I am good, mate. I'm good. Obviously, it's this week. It's you who's maybe grinning at the other team, but obviously, we'll get into that. But it's I'm excited to come on and just talk about the football. Obviously, we'll start first of all with uh, Wilfred Nancy losing four games in a row. His first four games in charge of Celtic. I lost 2-1 to Dundee United on last Wednesday. Really, really poor. A good first half, maybe sort of 30, 35 minutes. Celtic were on top. Some really poor finishing, though. And then Dundee United just were excellent in the second half. They got the deserved goals. They outfought Celtic at every turn. Wilfred Nancy just started trying random things, putting Scales on at left wing again, that kind of thing. Obviously, it didn't work out. And yeah, there was a lot of controversy. Obviously, a wee bit of the pressure's been alleviated, you could say. And we'll get onto that. I think we'll just segue right into that game after this one because it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ethan, on Wednesday it was pretty disastrous.
Yeah, it was. And as you said, the performance in the first half was good and probably warranted more than the only goal that came from Dyson Maeda, which was a very good goal. Johnny Kenny missed. He probably could have had a hat trick in that first half. And then, as you said, Dundee United, I don't know, maybe you could say they realised, like other teams have that have come up against this Wilfred Nancy Celtic side, realised what they were up against, realised how to counter the Frenchman's style of play, and they completely dominated Celtic for certainly the opening stages of that second half. They had corner after corner after corner, and we know from the first three matches under Wilfred Nancy that Celtic were struggling to defend them. It was the same again. Both goals, I think, either came from the corner or following after the corner. Two really good finishes as well from was it Sapsford and Caresses that got the
Yeah,
goals, I think.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, two really good finishes, and Celtic they kind of grew back into the game towards the end. Dyson Maeda missed one of the misses of the season, I think, with his header off the post. But yeah, if you're looking at the balance of the two halves, Dundee United deserved at the very least a draw, and obviously they took their chances and got a massive win for them. I think it was their first in I'll just check. It was the first in a while anyway because they were on a
Biggest
poor
that
run.
might have been eight.
Eight, yeah. I know they had. I think it was 1-11 before, and something like yeah, eight sounds about right that they hadn't won. So yeah, a big win for Jim Goodwin and his players. They obviously were brave in the second half. They went man for man with Celtic, and yeah, they took their chances and yeah, yeah, hats off to Jim Gooden and the players. I know Celtic were in a very weak mental state probably in that second half after what they had went through in the couple of weeks under Nancy. The Celtic fans were certainly in a weak state of mind when they're telling their manager to get to wherever after four games, which people talk about entitlement and stuff like that. I think you can certainly make the case of that being entitled. I know it's been a struggle for Celtic, but I think you've got to get behind the guy. And it's very difficult to, I know, but I think. What's your thoughts on that hounding the manager out after 4 games?
Um, I mean, I probably would have had it with Martin, but no. I think it's a tough situation because to be like that towards him, you almost need to not humanize him, dehumanize him, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Because that's as strange as his tactics have been. It's not his fault. The situation he's come into. He's come into a club in turmoil, a club in distress. It's absolutely not his fault. So you do got to feel bad for the guy a little bit. So, but
yeah.
it's
But
sorry, Ethan, I'm just gonna say, and you obviously four losses on the bounce for any Celtic manager at any period in time is inexcusable. But we've been talking about, we've seen flashes, um, and we'll probably talk about it more in depth in the Aberdeen game. But I just wanted to say there, Celtic on Sunday had 31 shots, 4.53 expected goals. They did get 3 goals in the game as well. So, there is certainly positives there to look at. It is a difficult situation for the fans because obviously you don't want to see your club being as bad as they've been. But yeah, I think Wilfred Nancy should be given a little bit more time.
yeah, I would agree with that. And I think obviously he takes responsibility because he's in charge of the players and stuff like that. But as you said, he's came into a difficult situation. The results obviously aren't good enough. The first time Celtic have lost 4 games in a row since 1977-78, and which was Jock Stein's final season in charge. So yeah, a long time, unprecedented times it was for Celtic. But I think the Celtic fans will be hoping that it's something they can put behind them now. We're obviously getting the result of the weekend. And the other notable thing, which happened on Wednesday, announced before the game, was that Peter Lawwell was set to stand down as Celtic chairman as of December the 31st. And non-executive director Brian Wilson, who I believe's been at Celtic for a while, will take up the interim role until the vacancy is filled. I'm just going to read a few of the notable things from the statement. Peter Lawwell said, "It's with sadness that I announce my decision to stand down as chairman of Celtic FC. I believe that my 18 years as chief executive and 3 years as chairman of the club have shown my ability to meet and overcome challenges on many fronts, but abuse and threats from some sources have increased and are now intolerable. They have dismayed and alarmed my family. At this stage in my life, I don't need this. I cannot accept this, and so I leave the club I have loved all my life." And yeah, so there we go.
It's sad, isn't it?
Yeah,
I know a lot of people won't have much sympathy for him, but I was talking about dehumanizing. If anyone's been dehumanized, other than Dermot Desmond, I think him one of the targets of the abuse over the years. And some of it justified criticism, a lot of it unjustified abuse and threats, and that is inexcusable behaviour, and that's something. This sounds like a cliche, but it's true. It's something you don't want to see.
yeah,
I think it is really, really poor that he's. Maybe some fans will think job done, but that he's been driven out by abuse. So
yeah,
it's not great. And I think for anyone who is looking at it and going job done, any means necessary, you should hang your heads in shame. I understand criticism. I understand wanting things to be done differently. I understand all of that, but you need to do it in a civilized, constructive sort of way. Bring real criticisms, bring proposals for change. Argue with your intellect, your intelligence. Don't just resort to just abuse.
yeah.
So
That's it. And you said, I think the Celtic fans will see this as a success ultimately, and I think we completely hope that Peter Lawwell himself, and well, not especially, the same as Peter Lawwell himself, haven't had to deal with any personal criticism of their personal existence out with his job as the Celtic chief executive. And ultimately, this is something that always happens when we speak about these things. There's a very fine line. The fine line, I don't know if it has been crossed. He's saying that it has been crossed, and I would probably believe that it has been crossed.
well, mind that he got petrol bombed a few years ago.
Yeah,
So the fact that that happened to him, and then he's come back and he's rode it out this long. Obviously, we don't know who petrol bombed his car. It might be someone else who's got some sort of problem with him on a different level, or something totally nothing to do with Celtic. But the fact that he's experienced that from the public, being in the public eye, and he stayed there, and he stayed sort of in the firing line. I think is this this is probably going to sound like I'm a Lawwell apologist or whatever, but it's a credit to him. I think and his resolve as a person, and his fortitude that he's stayed through all this. Obviously, I don't agree with a lot of what he's done at Celtic. If I'm thinking, obviously, I'm not a Celtic supporter, but if I was a supporter, I'd be upset with a lot of the stuff him and the board have contributed to. But yeah, if you think about him as just try and think about him as a person, and he's got family, and yeah, it is sad that he just can't. It's come to this that he can't take it anymore.
yeah.
It's quite sad.
The other
I'm
thing, though, that
sorry.
so, sorry, I was just going to say the other thing though that Celtic fans, I think a lot of them see this as is a failure of himself and the other board members to still, I think, maybe own up and admit to their failures. He spoke in his statement about the success and the European nights that he's had in his two spells at Celtic, because he did obviously briefly leave before coming back and had a slightly different role the second time around. But yeah, I completely agree with you. If it is to do with sort of personal abuse or family abuse that his family have suffered, and it's something that you never like to see, regardless of how successful or unsuccessful someone's been at their job. I think the Celtic fans will see it as a small victory, but I think they'll know that there's still a lot of people at that football club that Celtic fans want moved on, and maybe it does show that the protesting does work. And obviously, there's ways to go about it, and I think we've spoke about that multiple times on here. But yeah, I thought it was just something we had to mention. I know it's probably old news to the viewers and listeners, but just things to address, and now we can get on back on to speaking about the probably on the pitch matters, and certainly more positive matters when it comes to Celtic. The result yesterday at home to Aberdeen.
Yeah, absolutely. Celtic got their first win under manager Wilfred Nancy with a 3-1 win over Jimmy Tuline's Aberdeen. Mentioned the statistics earlier: 31 shots, 4.53 expected goals. It could have been a lot more for the boys in green, and they really, this was probably, I don't know, Ethan. I didn't see the whole game, but this is what I guess Wilfred Nancy would consider a perfect performance, maybe except from the goal conceded, but the rest is you can't really fault it. Obviously, Celtic go ahead through Benjamin Nigren in the 39th minute before Kenan Bilalovic equalises in the 79th. Obviously, Aberdeen are down to 10 by that point. Who was it that got sent off again?
It was Dylan Loban, the young fullback. It was pretty unfortunate, I've got to say. Dimitar Mitov, who we've been really high on in recent weeks, and probably based off his traditional goalkeeping performance in this game, you could be really high off him. He made some excellent saves and kept Aberdeen in the game because, as you said, I know some people don't like the XG at the start and whatever, but you can look at the shots, possession and shots on target. Celtic absolutely dominated the match, and it really was. It was 3-1 going on about 10-1, and credit to Aberdeen because when the Benjamin Negrin goal goes in, they keep their heads in the game. I know they get the red card down low, but as I said, David Armitov plays a, a really dodgy ball out to him, and then Dyson Maeda, as he always is alert, takes it off him, and Lobin brings him down. There's probably not much in it, but when Dyson Maeda's travelling at that speed, it's not going to take a lot. And when David Dickinson pulls out his red card, I don't think VAR is ever going to overturn it, and it was always going to be an uphill battle for Aberdeen from there out. But as you said, they got their equaliser with Bilalovic, and it felt like it was coming, regardless of the fact that Celtic absolutely dominated the match and had so many shots on Mitov's goal. I think they hit the woodwork 4 or 5 times in the game. It just, with how it's been going for Wilfred Nancy and Celtic, it felt like that Aberdeen were going to have something to say in this match, and they did. I think it was the substitute, the young Icelandic midfielder, Kjartan Mark Kjartansson, who was driving forward with the ball. Dyson Maeda looked like he'd won it back, and Celtic had sort of committed, I think, to the counter press, and then Aberdeen still had the ball with Kjartansson, and he plays a nice ball in behind to Bilalovic, who runs in the Celtic back three with no protection, and then he finishes past Kasper Schmeichel, who probably should do a lot better with a save. He gets a big hand on it, but it goes past him, and it comes back to the point of more Kasper Schmeichel
How
criticism.
bad is Sinisalo? Honestly, how bad is Sinisalo? If this washed up pensioner is getting in over him every single week, I think, obviously it's not been a great weekend for both the Old Firm goalies, but Kasper Schmeichel has been putting in stinkers for a while.
Yes.
Uh, by the way, Ethan, horror season. He's been absolutely honking. And,
Yeah, okay, maybe it is a horror season. Maybe I'll go back on that. The only reason I was saying it wasn't a horror season was because I was thinking back to the start of last season where Jack Butland was really, really, or the whole of last season where Jack Butland was really poor. But no, Kasper Schmeichel's been really poor this season, both with his feet especially, but some of his shot stopping as well has been questionable. And I think you make a good point about Sinisalo. I don't know what he has to do or what he's not doing in training to get in, because that's three managers now: Brendan Rodgers, Martin O'Neill, and now obviously Wilfred Nancy, that have still chosen to stick with Kasper Schmeichel. And maybe it's respect to the goalkeeper that he once was, and the experience he has and stuff like that. But I think you've got to maybe sideline him for a few games at least, and give Sinisalo a shot and goals, see what he's like. We've obviously seen him in extended periods before, then towards the end of last season when Kasper Schmeichel got that injury. Since then, the Danish number one's never really been the same for club, to the benefit of us, maybe, or definitely, and then no, for country, to the benefit of us, actually. Sorry, I got that one completely wrong.
People start thinking you're a Rangers supporter.
Well, and then club, the benefit of everyone playing against Celtic. But yeah, I think because Celtic have got to look to see, maybe they bring another goalkeeper in January, because I don't think they can continue with Kasper Schmeichel at
Yeah,
this level. I think he's dropped below the level he needs to be at.
I'm not sure if there's any truth to these rumours, but I have seen it popping up over the past few weeks. Would you take Ilan Meslier from Leeds?
Uh, Possibly, but do you think Leeds are going to sell to Celtic?
Yeah, maybe. Why not?
Possibly. Well, not just because it's the same. It's the
Yeah, but
same
it's
with
not. It's not.
Parag
They're
Maraf,
not.
and
It's not as if they're like business. It's not like they're linked businesses. If Celtic come in with a good
yeah,
offer,
but yeah, but surely Parag Maraf, you'd know more than me, who's involved at both clubs. He's going to go. He doesn't want to sell who was a really good goalkeeper, young prospect at one point at Leeds, to one of Rangers' title rivals. I just don't think that would happen. Maybe it would, but
well,
I don't
maybe
know.
not, but it might do. He's just,
Yeah,
there's a reason why he is where he is, cutthroat businessman. So,
yeah.
you know. I saw Inter Milan were apparently looking at him for as a backup, although I don't see why you would go from Leeds being back up to Perry to go into being back up at Inter Milan to a 150-year-old Jan Sommer. So I I don't know why you would want to do that. Well, anyway, um, Celtic then scored in the 88th through Kieran Tierney, who has scored the most goals ever in a season for him, club and country. His second most goals ever, well, joint most goals ever for club and country in a season. His second most goals ever exclusively for club in a season. He got 4 for Celtic back in like 2018 or something. But he's well on his way to beat that. 3 goals in league competition, 1 goal for Scotland, obviously. The goal that sent us all absolutely mental, sent out the goal that set up Kenny McLean to send us to the World Cup. Uh, and then
Even not even biting at that anymore because it's just factually wrong. The TikTok vote that we done already is proving that.
yeah,
But anyway,
well,
continue.
no, well, yeah, it's because people on TikTok are extremely reliable. Yes,
That's your audience.
the,
That's
in-
your audience.
the internet is extremely reliable. So we where am I? Kieran Tierney scores, and then old man Jamesy boy puts it away for 3-1. A renaissance, a revival. What do you think, Ethan?
Yeah, I think it was something. It was. It felt like it just nothing could go right for Wilfred Nancy when Aberdeen got that equaliser, but Celtic kept going. They showed resilience with their players and showed that they believed in what the manager was telling them to do. I think, and that's why they got those 2 goals. The performance never really dropped off after that goal. Kieran Tierney for a left centre back, he pops up at the back post. It misses. I think it goes along the 6 yard line. It goes in front of Shin Yamada, behind Daisen Maeda, but Kieran Tierney heads it in a free header. And I think he's been one of the main beneficiaries to Wilfred Nancy's style. I think he's really stepped up his game, and we're seeing much more of not completely the Kieran Tierney of old, but a similar level to that, and where he's at a physical and technical level to be a really good asset to Celtic. He got man of the match on the day, and I think he's nailing down that left centre back position because you spoke about it. Liam Scales did come on at left wing back and had a heavy involvement in the James Forrest goal, but if you're looking for the best player to play in that left centre back position that requires them to go forward and play at left wing at times, we've seen Liam Scales playing against St Mirren from the left centre back role, and Kieran Tierney's that guy because he can put in an excellent cross.
Also, as well, years of experience playing a very similar sort of marauding left centre back
Yeah,
under Steve Clarke. Obviously,
yeah,
I think it's a more open style, um, you know, and he's playing in a more ball dominant side. I think Nancy's not as focused on protecting the goal as he is his scoring goals. But Kieran Tierney, he's done it before. You know, when we were trying to shoehorn him and Robertson into the same side, he was very good in that left centre back role.
yeah, and he's carried that on with Celtic this season. Well, certainly since Nancy's come in and put him in that position. And a lot of people, Celtic fans, have been complaining about starting only one natural centre back and Austin Trusty in the middle. But I think the kind of, especially with how attacking Celtic were in this game, I think it's a top 10. I was looking at it earlier, top 10 XG created since they recorded the start in the Scottish Premiership by any team in a single match. And I believe it's the most since the 2022-23 season. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure. So it shows the level of dominance Celtic had in the match, despite it taking to the 80th minute to get that winning goal. And then in injury time, James Forrest saves the Celtic try push for him to get his goal in the dying minutes of a season by getting his first goal of the season and his 17th season, which is a remarkable achievement for him. And two Celtic heroes or modern day heroes stepping up big for the manager, and the Celtic fans will be hoping that they can kick on now um, and win games like that, and obviously they're not going to have that dominance in every game, but I think that's what I seen. That's why I wasn't maybe as reactionary as some Celtic fans on Wilfred Nancy. That despite losing 4 games, I think there was some little positives to take from small portions of game, very small portions. But you've seen more of a 90-minute performance at the weekend, a big win for Celtic, especially what happened in the game earlier on that day.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to that game, Hearts hosted Rangers at Tynecastle, and Danny Roll suffered his first league defeat, first domestic defeat as Rangers manager to Derek McInnes's Hearts side. And before we get into sort of the intricacies of the game, I just want to say I did pull the trigger too early on Hearts, and then we were laughing about it and we thought they bottled it. But they've shown real fortitude these past few weeks. And Ethan, I think I'm confident in saying Hearts are here to stay at the top for the long haul. This is going to be a hell of a season.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, definitely, and I'm not going to say that they're going to win the league or anything like that. But if I had to pick a favourite, they'd certainly be my favourites in the minute, and I don't know why you can't have them as favourites. I said before this game, I expected Hearts to win by a narrow margin. I predicted a 2-1 scoreline, so I got one prediction right. But uh, yeah, they both Rangers and Celtic have went to Tynecastle. They've just not been anywhere near good enough. And I think at one point you've got to put that down to Hearts. And Hearts have now beat Celtic and Rangers home and away. I think it's for the first time since it was. I think it was Dundee were the last team to do it, and it was a long, long time ago. So yeah, Hearts are definitely here to stay. They were excellent on the day, and they were well deserving of their win. They got to well. The first goal was a really well worked corner from
Great header as well.
yeah Braga and Kazridis. Good ball from Kazridis. I thought was absolutely excellent. One of Hearts' standouts. And then Stuart Finlay with a good header. Again, he's popped up with a few big goals this season, and that was one of them. And then Lawrence Shankland.
I'm just watching it now again. Kazridis for the cross. He does really, really well, first of all, to get himself back on side, obviously from the corner, because a lot of players don't really do that. Obviously, it's something they've worked on. He gets himself on side, and then he delivers a really good cross.
Yeah, exactly that. And he was a threat all day. I thought Claudio Braga was slightly wasteful in moments, and Lawrence Shankland missed a couple of big chances out with obviously the goal, which we'll get on to. But I thought Kazridis was unplayable at times and probably one of Hearts' best players. If it wasn't for Cammy Devlin, who I think is just he's unbelievable what he's doing. I think at the minute for where he's obviously always been a solid player in the Scottish Premiership, being one of those players that you would say you hate to see your team go up against because what he does off the ball. He was the most filled player in this match. I believe he's got the most tackles and interceptions in the Scottish Premiership by quite a considerable distance. But I think what he's really added to his game, and Neil McCann touched on it, is that he can really dictate the pace of a game now. He can slow the game down. He can get on the ball and control things for Hearts, and it's been so vital. And it's not often that we speak about a player who's got no goals and no assists after 18 games in a league. Is I think quite fairly leading probably the race is to be the Scottish Premiership Player of the Season. I'd have to if I had a vote and I was voting now, then he'd certainly be top of my list. I thought he was excellent again, and he was everything that was sort of good for Hearts. I think against he had a really interesting battle against Mohamed Diamande in the first half before he was sacrificed as Rangers pushed another striker on, Yusuf Chamiti, who did eventually score, but it came to be immaterial. And I thought someone who had a really poor game, and I think you touched on last week that he's not been as great recently, was Nico Raskin. I thought he had a really poor afternoon. Just nothing went right for him. I think he played Kazridis on for the first goal. You spoke about him getting onside. I think he played him onside. He missed a really big chance, the header in the first half, which is probably Rangers' biggest chance, barring the offside goal. And then And then, well, it seems like after the game he picked up 3 points for speeding, if online videos are reliable. So, not a very good day for Nico Raskin. And someone you spoke about who I didn't think Rangers got in the game enough was Connor Barron. With the way Danny Rose set the team up, Connor Barron was more pushed wide and he couldn't really get in the game. And maybe that's the problem. You need to get the Scottish midfielder on it instead of the Belgian one.
If you're talking about Cammy Devlin, obviously he's been incredible this season. If you're going to put somebody toe to toe with Cammy Devlin, you'd choose Connor Barron, wouldn't you? Like not into like I mean just to like disrupt it. I'm not saying he's better. I'm not saying I'll put them on like on the pitch. If you're wanting to try and shut down Cammy Devlin and make it difficult for him, you put Connor Barron on him. So I've just seen the Hearts' second goal for the first time. What the hell? What is that? First of all, the defence absolutely nowhere. What are they doing? And what is that line for the free kick? And then they're just running about like heedless chickens. Oh, where's the ball? They're all over the shop. And how do you get beat at that angle at your near post? Can you tell me?
No, I can't. I can't. I think I
I would
said
have
to you,
saved that. And I'm a big fat cheese. You just need to stick your leg at the near post. Just protect. Why does he move his leg away?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing there. And I think I said to you, obviously, you didn't get to watch the game, but I said to you, the first goal was a really well worked header. The second goal you won't want to see. And yeah, that's exactly why. Terrible goalkeeping from Jack Butland. And at that point, it sort of killed off the game for Rangers because
Honestly.
although they started well, they had the offside goal, which I think Emmanuel Fernandez has got to do a lot better. I know he heads it in a good area and Bojan Miovski's offside, but I think
He's totally free. He needs to get on target, doesn't he?
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking initially I thought really well worked goal, terrible defending from Hearts, mind you, to leave Fernandez, who we know from Rangers and previously from Peterborough, is such a threat on corners. But Hearts obviously get away with that one. But no, Hearts were well deserving of the win. I didn't think Rangers would get back into it. They maybe made a better first step in the second half, you could say, but you never really thought they were even going to get a goal until Yusuf Chermiti did pop up with one in the latter stages.
I just want to say as well, the Hearts backline, when Rangers were trying to get a goal late on, they were soaking up everything. They were winning absolutely everything in the air. And I just, yeah, they were immense. And also as well, it was a wee bit of an obscure bit, but it was maybe in the 89th minute, Mikey Moore breaks and Barry Benangame just wipes him out at taking one for the team. You could see they were all unified, they were together, they were fighting for the win. Benangame doesn't mind getting booked. He doesn't want to give Rangers an in any sort of way back into the game. Obviously, Rangers do get the goal, but it was far too late in the end. Um, this is see when I look at this Hearts squad, and then obviously there's a lot of really good individual players, and they've got an experienced manager. But do you know what word comes to mind for me? Well, maybe a couple. It's unity and belief. Um, I think they believe they can beat anyone, and
Yeah,
that's one of the most powerful tools you can have.
yeah, exactly that. And I don't think Rangers probably believed that, or maybe they did believe, but after it was the start of the game was really so there wasn't much in it between the two teams. But when Hearts got those goals, Rangers never looked like coming back into the game, and Hearts just grew more comfortable. And they do have belief, and it's obviously installed from Derek McInnes, and what one excellent job he's doing. Because although we talk about the analytics and stuff like that, this is Derek McInnes' first season as the Hearts manager, and this was meant to be a long term process, and obviously it still is a long term process because Hearts have by no means won the Scottish Premiership title, is obviously what Tony Bloom wants to do, but they're certainly make a good fist at it so far.
And are we seeing we're talking about long-term project, and maybe this is ahead of schedule. But are we seeing perhaps a look into the future of Scottish football? Of there will be another team competing for league titles if with sort of the analytical backing and with Derek McInnes at the helm and whoever is the manager in the future. Are we seeing a dawn of a new era in Scottish football? In terms of other clubs competing, I know we've seen it before with Hearts and Aberdeen for a little spell under McInnes as well. We're competing for a couple of league titles. I think that was during the Ronnie Dyla days, so maybe not too great there. But yeah, we've seen it before, but it feels it feels like maybe although Celtic and Rangers are really bad this season, Hearts might be able to get something this season, a cup or the league or something.
Yeah.
Might go back to normal next season. However, I don't think we'll see the last of Hearts,
No.
especially with this sort of system they've got.
Yeah, and you look at one other. I think one of Tony Bloom's other projects is a perfect example. The USG one. You look at what he's done there, and yeah, they're obviously growing into their league leading the league at the minute. And the Club Brugge manager Nicky Hen was relieved of his duties for complaining about not being backed enough. So there's no reason why if the Hearts get sustained pressure in the league and can go for those European spot, maybe qualify for the Champions League. That would be an excellent windfall to compete with Celtic and Rangers financially, which is obviously the bridge they need to get over at the minute.
Moving on to the other games of the weekend, we will start. Where will we start? Will we start at Tannadice?
Yeah, we'll start at Tannadice, yeah.
Tannadice, where Dundee United drew 1 each with Hibernian. I'd say a decent result for Dundee United after their win against Celtic. Hibs, obviously not a great result for them. Luke Stevenson opened the scoring within 20 minutes, and then before Kieran Bowie equalised.
It was Martin Boyle that equalised.
Oh, was it? Oh no, football unreliable.
Yeah, that's why you need to watch the highlights because football is unreliable when it comes to Scottish football.
Ooh. My apologies for that one. However, well, I had a debate for this that that the kind of doesn't make sense anymore. But Ethan, what do you make of this result for both teams?
Yeah, as you said, it's a decent point for Dundee United going away to Tannadice for Hibs. It's an all right point, but they would have been looking to get a win, and because it's just one win in the last five for Hibs. So they're there or thereabouts, but I think they would rather be up there competing with. I know they're not far away, but you look at what Motherwell are doing, Hibs, so want to be up there above Motherwell at least, and they'll see opportunity to maybe even be there or thereabouts with Rangers and Celtic as well, with how they are both playing, and they want to close the gap to Hearts. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but that's where the bragging rights lie in Edinburgh, as they do in most Derby cities. So, yeah, as you said, it was a bit of an even game. I would say Hibs maybe had slightly more of the chances, but a draw was probably a fair result. Hibs have obviously been decimated sort of by AFCON duty. Rocky Bashiri, Miguel Chaiwa and Jordan Abita, all who were really starting, I think, for Hibs before they went away. Maybe not Rocky Bashiri come the end of it, actually, now that I think of it, but I think he was still starting for Hibs. Let me double check on that. But that's three key players. Yeah, Rocky Bashiri was still starting. That's three key players that they're without. Dundee United made one change, which I could see coming. Bert Esselink, who had a horrible game against Celtic first half, he was hooked, so he came off. He came out the start 11 for Rico Seve. But it was two decent goals from each team. Poorly defended, I'll say. The Dundee United goal, good cross by Will Ferry. Max Waters brings it down under a little pressure. And then Lucas Stevenson finds his way to goal past Salinger. And Stevenson had a good start again for Dundee United. More goals already than last season, and he's got more assists than last season for the Liverpool loanee. We obviously know he's a quality player, and I loved when he scored. They have a song. I think Dundee United fans will probably know more about this than I do, but watching the highlight package, they had a song that played through the tannoy that went "Luca, Luca," which I thought was quite good. Uh, so yeah, and you spoke about you thought or it said on football like I thought it was when I looked at it the other day before watching the highlights that it was Kieran Bowie who scored, but he missed some chances and it wasn't really his day. He could have had a goal, but Martin Boyle got it. And it was actually Zach Mitchell who got the assist, the centre back making his debut for Hibs on loan from Charlton. He was at St Johnstone last season. A good debut for him, you could say. I didn't obviously get the full packages. I'm sure the Dundee United fans in the ground did watching the game. But yeah, um, what else is there to say on this match? Dundee United are 3 points outside the top six, so after the win against Celtic and the draw there, they're getting closer to being in the battle for that. Hibs remain in fifth, a point ahead of Aberdeen and Falkirk, with the previous having a game in hand. Four behind Rangers, who also have a game to spare over them. And I think you said earlier in the season that you thought Dundee United were the sort of maybe chaos team that Dundee were last season, and that's certainly been proven. Maybe not in this game because it was one each, but Dundee United have been involved in the most Premiership goals in their games this season, 51. And what would that be? 18 games, is it? Yeah, so that's quite a lot. What would that be? Over three a game. So yeah, but I don't know if there's much more to say on this really, except same old for Hibs. Can't really get a consistent run together. And for Dundee United, it's better than it was. Although they're still struggling to maybe get the wins as frequent as Jim Goodwin would want and as frequent as they did last season if they have any aspirations to be in that top six again come May.
Yeah, yeah. See this debate that I had. Um, it was kind of related to Kieran Bowie, but it's more in the sense of Scotland strikers. Another man who scored at the weekend in the English Championship now has 10 goals in 14 games for his team this season. Three assists as well. He's the seventh top scorer in the championship, but he's joint with a bunch of others on 9, and there's a couple on 10 and one on 11, and Adam Armstrong, who tops the division. He plays for Hull City, and I was. Can you guess who I'm talking about?
Plays for Hull City.
Yeah, Scotland striker that I want to put
Ah,
forward.
well, I'm miles off it. I don't even have a clue who you're talking about. I'm sure when you tell me, I'll know who it is. But
Ollie McBurney has
oh right, okay.
in 14 games this season. He's having an incredible goal scoring season. Do you think if he keeps this form up, we need to perhaps consider him
Yeah, maybe consider him, but
bringing to the World Cup?
yeah, maybe, but I'm not sure. I think we've been sold down a path for Ollie McBurney before, so yeah, I remember was it who was it? Was it Swansea he was at before he went to Sheffield United, and he had a great season at Swansea, and that's obviously why he went to Sheffield. And I remember him popping up with an occasional goal, even when Sheffield United were in the Premier League. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if he's scoring goals, then and he's scoring goals at a rate which no other Scottish striker is, I'd imagine at the minute maybe Lawrence Shanklin's on a par with him, then there's no reason why he can't be in consideration. But yeah,
He's on
I've never
course.
been the biggest fan of Ollie McBurney as a player, I've got to say.
He's on course for his best season ever.
Oh, okay.
If he keeps it up,
Well, yeah.
because that season with Swansea, wait, I had him up a minute ago. Ollie McBurney, career. So that good season with Swansea, he scored 24 goals in 44 appearances. This season with Hull, he's scored 10 and 14 so far. So he's on course to beat it if he keeps it up. And I mean, I love a redemption story. I'm not the biggest fan of Ollie McBurney either, but you know, I'd say right now, if you're thinking logically, he would be ahead of the likes of Kieran Bowie. Logically, he should be ahead of London Dykes, but Steve Clarke loves him, so I don't think he's going to get dropped. I think Adams and Dykes are locks unless they're injured. It's that other. It's that other.
I think Shanklin's got to be a lock as well.
Yeah, no, I'd
Whether
probably.
he will be, I think the fourth is maybe up for debate, but a Kieran Bowie or a George Hurst or a Kevin Nisbet has been in squads recently, or an Ollie McBurney. I think that's maybe the position he could take up. If he keeps up it's scoring at that rate, then it's got to be recognised. I'm sure it will be by Steve Clarke. But
McBurney has played 7 less games than Shankland and has 1 less goal contribution in a harder league.
okay, but it's not all about goals though. And I'd still say Lawrence Shankland's a better player than Ollie McBurney. I'm sure you would agree. So that's the thing we're looking at. And
I know
yeah, well,
I'm just playing devil's
no,
advocate.
I know, yeah.
If we
It's an
just
interesting
agreed
point
if
to
we
bring up.
just agreed the full time, it would be a pretty boring podcast. So
No, yeah, it would, but yeah, well, he's
we'll
in
put it to you.
consideration, but I still get Kieran Bowie ahead of him at the minute.
But that's crazy. Kieran Bowie's been rubbish. So
No, he hasn't. He's not
wait,
been rubbish. He's maybe not been as he was at the start of the season, but
stop
I think he'll
talking.
go on a run again.
Stop talking so I can do a clap. So we put it to you, viewers. Who would you rather have in the Scotland squad right now, based off of current form? I think we'll leave. We'll go Lawrence Shankland, Kieran Bowie, or Ollie McBurney. And for anyone who doesn't know, Shankland has 12 goals in 21 games this season. McBurney has 10 and 14. And let me pull up Bowie. Kieran Bowie has 7 goals in 25 games this season. So let us know what you think in the poll in the comments. Moving swiftly on to the next game on the Saturday, we'll go to Rugby Park, where Falkirk got back to winning ways with a 1-0 win over Kettlewell-less Kilmarnock. And yeah, it's not looking good for Kelly, Ethan. I'm sure Laurie's fuming. Maybe he's fuming as Dominic Thompson was after the game, after Brian Graham got the only goal and sealed the victory for Falkirk. 11 games now, Kilmarnock are without a win.
Yeah,
This is diabolical.
yeah. You thought maybe it was a game Kilmarnock could look for points. I know Falkirk have been maybe the surprise, well, not the obvious surprise package when Hearts are leading the league title race, and even with Motherwell doing so well. But one of the surprise packages is the newly promoted team challenging for top six, although some people maybe expected that under John McGlynn. It looked like a realistic chance for Kilmarnock to get points under Chris Dillon as their interim manager, but it wasn't really the case. Kilmarnock maybe had the better of it in the first half, and I think they ended the first half in a really good way without finding a goal. And then Falkirk started the second half really well, did get their goal through Brian Graham, which was really well worked from a Falkirk point of view, but I think Kilmarnock will look at it as really poor defending from start to finish. Brian Graham gets in and finishes from close range, and yeah, just a classic striker's goal for Brian Graham. But yeah, as you said, with Dominic Thompson, not what you want to see. I think he's probably just trying to show that like he's with the fans and he knows it's not good enough and those kind of things. But these conversations between players and fans never usually go well, and that
And then,
kind of
then he starts trying to fight his teammates who are trying to pull him away.
yeah. But that, you know what it's like if you're trying to speak to someone and someone's telling you you can't. The famous clip is the Kevin De Bruyne. What is it? Let me
Let me
talk.
talk.
Yeah, that clip that it's the same kind of thing. He's trying to get his point across to the fans, and but obviously it didn't go down the best with some of them, which you can understand with the run they've been on. But yeah, a good win for Falkirk to go back to winning ways. But for Kilmarnock, it is a real struggle in the minute, and I think Laurie and many Kilmarnock fans have said they don't see where a win's coming from, which is really concerning, considering Kelly remain in second bottom as they were going into the weekend. But if Livingston, which is a big if, I understand that, if they were to win their game in hand, then Kilmarnock would go bottom of the league. So yeah, it's really not looking
Well,
good for the Ayrshire team.
that doesn't seem too likely, to be fair, though.
No, it doesn't, but it just shows the state that Kilmarnock are in because I don't think any of us had them that far down there. Maybe in our predictions or even recently, I think we've said that if Kilmarnock get the right boss, they can get out of that sort of conversation along with Dundee and Livingston. But maybe it won't be that straightforward based on what's going on at the minute.
Yeah, yeah. Just quickly on Falkirk, good for them to get back to a win after 4 winless games. 2-0 draws with Rangers and Motherwell, the 3-0 defeat to Hibs and a 2-0 defeat to Hearts. So not the easiest run for them, but they've managed to get a win under their belt and keep
Yeah,
themselves within the touching distance of the top six.
yeah.
You know,
Really,
it's
I was,
positive for John McGlynn and his team.
yeah, I was just going to say, sorry, that I was just going to say, yeah, really good weekend for them. They go away and win and get over that little hurdle, the streak they've been on, but also the sort of direct competition above them, Aberdeen and Hibs, obviously dropped points. So they've narrowed that gap again, and I think they're just outside the top six in goal difference behind Aberdeen, although Aberdeen are one of the teams that have got a game in hand, which is maybe a wee bit more realistic of points than if we're talking about Livingston. But yeah, Falkirk, I think, will be in the conversation come the end. I think we're seeing maybe the bottom three will drift away from the rest of the league. We'll get on to St Mirren, but obviously they've kind of pulled away from that pack as well.
They've got 2 games in hand also, St Mirren, so they've definitely 2 games in hand and 1 game in hand on the majority on the whole of the division. So they have the ability to sort of drag themselves up into that fight also. So yeah, the bottom three are in a real struggle. We'll move on to the 10th team, out the top of that three. Dundee went away to Motherwell, lost 1-0 thanks to a goal from Callum Slattery. And, although the scoreline is tight, Motherwell games this season, they've been a joy to watch, and probably they deserved the winning quite convincingly in the end. I know we keep talking about Rangers, Hearts, and Celtic, but Motherwell, are they just quietly? They're obviously in third, and people are just writing them off. But if they can keep this up, are they quietly putting themselves in the conversation? Do you think, Ethan?
Possibly. I think we've always sort of joked about the idea, but we're getting to that stage. I think people are making a big deal out of the fact that at Christmas time, Hearts are the first team to lead the league since let me get it. I had it here. 1993, the first time that a team outside of Celtic and Rangers has led the Scottish Premier Division or SPFL or Scottish Premiership, whatever you want to call it, come Christmas Day. 1993 was the last time. It was Aberdeen who were top at that stage. Rangers were in second. Guess who was third?
Motherwell.
Yeah, Motherwell were third again. And the league was a lot tighter then. That was before it went to, I believe that was before it went to 3 points for a win. So it was only 2 points for a win back then, which meant between first placed Aberdeen on 29 points and seventh placed Kilmarnock on 24 points. It was only 5 points between them. And that was after 23 games. So a few more games than they've played now. But obviously that comes in with the amount of other competitions that are about nowadays. But yeah, I don't think there's any reason why they can't be sort of at least in a conversation to disrupt what you'd imagine the top three to be Hearts, Celtic, and Rangers at the minute. Motherwell are now unbeaten in the last 8 matches in all competitions, 10 in the league if you exclude the League Cup semi-final, which comes across as an even greater surprise now. Obviously, St Mirren showing in both the semi and the final why they were there, but by the margin they beat Motherwell was surprising. Um, Across the last 6 matches, which include 3 wins, Motherwell haven't conceded a goal, which is over 9 hours of football consecutively. And you'll have to go back to Steven Gerrard's title win in Rangers to find a run of that time without conceding. So that shows how good defensively they've been. Only Celtic and Hearts have conceded less goals in the league by a very narrow margin as well. Um, so yeah, Motherwell are a real strong team. And what is great about this time is we're going to learn a lot about them over the next 2 games because they've got to go to Ibrox next, and then they've got Celtic at home, which is 2 fixtures that I don't think Celtic and Rangers will be looking forward to, and they're two
No,
ones that
I am
Ian
not.
Smith,
I
Ian
am
Smith,
not looking
Alaska, and
forward.
Motherwell will see points in.
Not looking forward to that game at all. But yeah, Dundee. We'll talk about Dundee for a sec. They look like they're going to be in. I think we said this in and around that all season. And however, I'm not as down on them as I am on the other two. I just feel like they're like I said, they're just going to pop up with stupid wee wins here and there. Like I bet you they'll beat Celtic again at some point. They'll probably beat Rangers. Might even pop up and beat Hearts or something. They'll come up. Well, they'll pop up with stupid wee wins, and that'll just be enough to keep them in the division.
Yeah, quite possibly, and that's what it seems like because anytime they do win, you don't expect it to come. But what you shouldn't do is expect them to win away from home like they were on Saturday. They've only picked up 3 points from a possible 30 from away games, so
Wow.
that's a really really terrible record. And maybe the home results is the home fixtures are where you can expect
Can
those
you
surprise
name
wins to
can
come.
you name the three sides, or have you already got that?
No, I haven't got that. The 3 sides that they've got points against. Well, Rangers is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, is Aberdeen one of them?
No,
No. Uh,
away points,
Kilmarnock?
away
I don't
points,
know.
mind you.
What is it?
Away points, mind.
Away points.
Yeah,
No, I
picked
can't.
up three. They got. Oh wait, Kilmarnock is one of them. Sorry, I completely blanked there.
Uh, Kilmarnock, and then Livingston obviously the other week.
Yeah, well done. Uh,
So yeah,
so, Dundee. I think they'll be in it in and around there, but I think they'll be all right.
yeah.
Moving on
Uh,
to a side who I think are going to be down and out by March. I'm calling it now. Uh, Livingston are really bad. 0.19 expected goals against St Mirren. St Mirren with the 1-0 win. Mikael Mandron back fighting fit after his illness in the cup final that didn't allow him to start last week. He got
We
the
didn't. He didn't start again this week, but he
yeah,
played a he
but
played a bigger part. Obviously, played a bigger part when he gets the goal. Uh, but no,
masterpiece.
you know. But I think that's sorry. No, you go on. You go.
No, no, it's fine. No,
No, on you go. I was gonna make a point, but it doesn't matter. I'll make it after you've introduced Mikael Mandron.
Declan John with the assist. Maybe that's another Michael Mandron. Maybe he's another one for our poll Scotland squad. Chris, I saw Haitian fans trying to get him to play for Haiti, so we might see him at the World Cup after all. I think
But that would be
I think
interesting.
he might have a bit of Haitian heritage, so apparently, so we might see him on the other side. Hopefully, on the other side of a 6-0 drubbing, but knowing Scotland, I don't think that's the way it's going to go.
Yeah, and that's it's a really good story with Mikael Mandron. We touched on it last week when you revealed to me because I didn't know that he had told Stephen Robinson on the day of the game that he was ill, and for the good of the team, it was probably best that he didn't start the match and he didn't start again this time. But obviously, he plays a massive part. And when coming on, 5 minutes after coming on, he gets the winner and he grabs the headlines in this one. Obviously, you'd maybe rather grab the headlines in a League Cup final, but he won't care. He played his massive part in the semi, and he played a massive part in getting St Mirren the 3 points. And much like Motherwell game and even the Celtic game, the home side dominant, but takes them maybe later than they would like to get the 3 points based on the balance of play. But as you said, 10 goals this season for Mandron, some big ones at that. So yeah,
Yeah, well,
and
I think there's perhaps a reason why St Mirren, you know, left it so late on. They do struggle to get goals. They're the joint lowest scoring team in the division, along with Dundee this season. Um, you know, they'll be hoping they can translate some of that goal scoring cup final form into the league, because obviously 3 goals against Celtic, but they, like I said, they're the joint lowest scoring team in the division. That could be one of their downfalls this season. And what is a really, really solid team, which is
yeah,
strange. It's strange as well talking about this because Mikael Mandron has already scored 10 goals in all competitions this season. So, it's funny. He has scored a lot in the League Cup, mind you, but I think it's
yeah,
3 in the league and 7 in the League Cup. But it is strange, thinking about that when he's on course for one of his best, well, if not his best season ever. I think his highest scoring season was 15 when he was in the National League. So he could be on to his best goal scoring season ever, and St Mirren are struggling for goals.
yeah. It is funny. Football's a funny game. They play against two of the best free defences in the league in the League Cup semi and final and score 7 goals, yet they've only managed, what is it, around 17 goals, is it, in the Premiership
15,
across 16,
15,
15. So what's that? Just less than a goal a game or a goal a game?
less than a goal a game. They've played
Yeah.
16 matches.
Yeah, so that is really concerning, but you feel it can only go up for St Mirren from here. 3 wins on the bounce. They obviously got over that hurdle against Dundee United before they played that massive game against Celtic. Then they grind out the win here, although they struggled to find the goal and they did create a lot. They probably should have had a goal before it. Jonah Younger did have the ball in the net, but it was ruled out for a foul by Dan Ilandulu on Finlayson, which I thought was really, really soft, and Livingston got off the hook there. But Mikael Mandron did get the winning goal in the 72nd minute, assisted by Declan John, who has 3 assists in his last 3 games. So he's been a real brilliant bit of business for St Mirren to get in. Was it January of last season,
Always
or was it a
rated.
bit longer than that he came in?
Always rated Declan John. I always liked him when he was at Rangers. He was like Borna Barisic before Borna Barisic. Wand of a left foot. Um,
Yeah, and he's still got that,
Yeah,
evidently.
absolutely. So, yeah, well done to Declan John continuing his form. He's got. I'm just checking. He's got 7 assists in all competitions this season. That is absolutely mad.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
that is a really good number for a left back or a left wing back, you could say, in St
like
Mirren's system. But
it's
he was
almost
excellent
James Tavernier
against
numbers.
Celtic as well.
I'm just saying it's almost James Tavernier numbers he's putting up.
Yeah, just stick him on penalties, and then he'll be good. He obviously already takes the free kicks. I think has he got a free kick goal this season? He might do. He's got one goal. I don't know if it was a free kick. I remember he scored one last season, a cracker against Celtic in that game in Paisley, which was when Yang came off the bench and scored 2, I think. So yeah,
Well,
but St
look,
Mirren,
I've got a wee. I've just thought of another wee trivia question for you.
okay.
So, barring this season, because he has 4 assists this season so far, James Tavernier. When was the last time he didn't register 7 assists or more in a season for Rangers?
Um, was it in the I don't know the first season of Rangers being in the Championship? I don't know whenever that was that was
He
14,
wasn't.
15, was that?
He wasn't there.
What?
No, he joined the season they went up.
Oh, did he? Oh, I thought he was there. I thought he was there for the first season. Okay, so it's not there. Right, I'm going to go with 2 seasons. I'm going to go the 17-18 season then.
Oh, you were really close. So he got 7 that season. it was the 16-17 season where he got
Nah.
6. 15-16 he got 18. 15 goals, 18 assists, and then and then obviously the 17-18 season he got 7, and then his lowest season up to date was 19-20 with 9. Uh, all the others were double digits. So a wee bit of an assist quiz for any football anoraks out there.
Yeah. Something that we actually I forgot to mention when speaking about Motherwell, which for one of the couple of big games coming up, which will be a concern and was maybe a concern at the weekend, is Tawanda Maswanise not being there. Obviously, he's away to AFCON with Zimbabwe, so he'll be a big miss.
Zimbabwe,
Probably one.
to play in Zimbabwe later on. I might tune in.
Yeah, I think he'll be one of the.
Mohamed Salah versus Tawanda Maswanise.
He'll be one of the. Do you think it'd be fair to say he'll be the biggest miss to any team out of the players going to AFCON?
I don't know, man. That's just gonna sound really strange, but I think we
Oh
really,
no!
I think we,
Oh no!
I think we really missed Nasser Giga.
Oh no!
He's been immense for the past few games. He's been absolutely immense.
Yeah, maybe he's a big miss, but you can't compare him to Maswanise. Well, 8 goals for Motherwell in the league this season,
What about Hibs missing Rocky?
possibly, but I still think Tawanda Maswanise is more important to Motherwell. I think maybe you've seen that at the weekend, but why they only scored 1. But
What,
yeah, they've got other quality players.
what about Celtic and Balikwisha?
No, I don't think so. Having Taneke,
Oh,
maybe that's why Celtic won a
did
game
Taneki
because they
go to
weren't there.
AFCON as well with Tunisia?
Yeah, he's away. Both of them are away. The £10 million of wingers that Celtics splashed on those two. Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Speaking about AFCON, did you get a chance to catch any of our opponents, our World Cup opponents' opening game last night?
I didn't see any of the game, but I saw El Kabi's goal.
Yeah,
Spectacular. He's one of my favourite players ever, man. You just see him every now and then. He bags like 30 goals a season, but he's so under the radar, and then you just see him score a banger every now and then. I think
yeah,
Igaman's actually injured right now, unfortunately, which is why he wasn't making any appearances for the Morocco team last night. But yeah, El Kabi, what a baller.
yeah. We'll have to watch out for. Well, a lot of Morocco talents have not even got their captain and their best player playing either. So Ashraf Hakimi, of course. So
Right.
yeah.
Hakimi's their captain and their best player's Igaman. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go for that then.
Yeah, but you know what's so weird about Morocco? You just forget how stacked they are. Like,
Yeah.
uh, before we finish up, I'll just like some of the players, man. Bonu, Mazraoui, Aguerd, Romain Saiss is still playing football. Unahi, Amrabat, Saibari. What he's scarred me for life, man. I've seen him in the flesh for PSV. What a player. Brahim Diaz, El Uni, just stacked. El Kabi, El Kanous, in the serie. Obviously Hakimi as well. Ben Sahir. Oh God, we're Talbot. We're gonna get absolutely cooked by Morocco. Oh my God.
No, we're not. Have confidence. We've got a stat squad as well. Think of the striker
Yeah.
options we were just
Ollie
talking about.
McBurney, Mikel Mandron, Kieran Bowie, Lawrence Shankland. Absolute ballers, a lot of them. Um, no, but yeah, they do have a very good team, and I think they will win the Afcon. They just seem like the best team on paper. I know everything doesn't always work out when it looks certain on paper, but I think they will win the Afcon. Any disagreements?
No, no, they're my favourites certainly.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that'll wrap it up for today's episode. Thank you all for watching and listening. Make sure to check out the YouTube or the Spotify, wherever you're listening from. Check out the other platform. Drop us a follow, drop us a like, subscribe, let us know what you think in the comments. give us video ideas. Just let us know what you want to see more.
Thank you for the recent support as well on the
Yeah,
the
no,
YouTube channel and the TikTok.
it's been immense. It's been immense, especially on the YouTube channel. We've had returning viewers, and we've really noticed that uptick and appreciated your support. It is very appreciated, because we're just two guys sitting in our bedrooms talking about football. So we really appreciate any support you can give us. Make sure to go check out the TikTok and the Twitter. We hope you all have a very Merry Christmas. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, we hope you're enjoying the holidays. Like I said in the intro, spending it with family and doing all the stuff you want to do. And enjoy the football as well. Thank you and goodbye.